smell the questions upon you.
So you return. Questions answered and answers turn to questions. The veiled one has returned to the fold, and only the marked one remains. But for how long? Questions. The shout of wonder has parted. We are all eternally seeking. How can I help you find your way? How do you know about the material that possessed me? Why do you keep calling me the marked one? Marked for death, or perhaps life, or something in between. The many eyes see a purpose that we cannot. I was to speak for you, that I know. But why, when, and for whom? This I cannot say. Speak for me. Is that a nod to the Forgotten God expansion? Not to speak for me bit, but the many eyes and purpose, because the three witch gods have an important role over there.
So, another monster has been banished from this world.
Anyway. Goddamn. Ooh, Coven. Must hit up bonus rep. I should have actually got that before I did those quests, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm down a bit of rep, but I can still get it from killing beasts. Not that I'll probably hit the next level on this character anyway, because I mightn't be doing elite on them.
Ah, we speak at last.
Again.
As I am sure you know, there are many who now cast their gaze upon you, traveler. Or should I say, taken. Some who mean you ill. Some who fear your potential. Then there are those who
Oh,
command
it changed.
You know them well, for their attendance mark is upon you. They wish to collect upon this gift.
Collect, meaning what?
I cannot speak of such things in this place. The cursed gaze of our foes is cast upon us here, so I will be brief. Great powers are gathering within the distant lands of the fallen Corvan people, and the Great Eye has decreed that you must play a part, whatever that may be. Will you answer our summons? Will you join me through the portal? Or do the mortal concerns of these people outweigh the calls of fate?
I got nothing else to do. Sure. The Emissary's Rift. Conclave of the Tree. Mazan, Keeper Portals. Name sounds familiar. Like the aesthetic here. Suddenly I'm just waiting for... suddenly I just hear Agrabah music from Kingdom Hearts.
You have come, as the Oracle of Dreeg had foreseen.
He kept hounding me till I did.
Are you truly prepared for what's in store for you in this forsaken land?
What is this place?
You are in the Corvan Basin, a land ravaged by gods and man alike. A land whose secrets are now coveted by a determined few. As for this camp, this is the Conclave of the Three. Very much like the sanctum you've discovered in the marshes outside of Burwich. Here the three cults set aside their disagreements
Voice
and
went weird
join
there.
as one against our mutual foes. Foes which threaten your existence as well, I might add.
What do you need from me then? What do you need me for then?
The three have decreed that I seek out worthy allies in our battle against a common foe. But are you indeed the one we seek? First, you must prove yourself.
400 XP? What do I need to do?
Go to the center of the camp before the statues. Kanatha, mistress of the Sentinels, awaits you to begin the Eldritch rites. Conquer whatever horrors assault you from the Eldritch realm, and we shall have our answer.
Question?
In time, all your questions will have answers of their own. But first, the rites.
Fine. Feels like wrongs, to be honest. So, yeah, there's 3 different covens, and they all, these are the new things that were added in. Like Charging Bull, you apply this to your metal, and now you get a rush move. where you just rush at the opponents. Or you get this, where you leap backwards from your enemies. You could also use that as a rush as well. You just aim yourself away from them and lunge backwards. But not really how it's meant to be used. It's not really the most, you know, it wouldn't be the most comfortable way of using that ability. Lead me to my business. Oh, Sorrel. What are you working on? Did you not hear me? Let me spell it out for you. Leave me alone. The less time I spend in this godforsaken, sand-covered armpit of the world, the better. So I have no purpose but slow me down. Now leave me alone so I can get my work done and get out of here. What's wrong? Are you really not listening? You want to know what's wrong? You're really not listening, are you? You want to know what's wrong? They dragged me out to this forsaken furnace on a fool's errand, chase some hopeless maniac through the desert. My clothes are soaked with sweat, that is, until it all evaporates underneath this slit skin. My skin burns, there's sand in my everything. There isn't so much as a drop of booze as far as the eye can see. Top it off, I lie awake, freezing to death, while all manner of ghastly beasts spend the night screaming and moaning at each other at the edge of camp. So you could say I'm a bit upset at my current situation. Now get lost, let me finish my work. That sounds pretty terrible. Pretty sure we're done talking. Watch yourself, old man. Gar's Keeper of Iron. Greetings. I kind of sped read him, so apologies. Greetings, friend. I know when someone's carrying coin and you've got your share. Care to make an exchange for some iron bars? What would I want these for? I offer a humble service, no strings attached. Bring me iron bits, in exchange you receive iron bars. Pass these on to your allies or perhaps your alter egos. If they bring them to me, then I'll happily take them off their hands for their original value. Ooh, this is steep. Splendid, and what will be? I've got iron bars for 50,000 iron bits each, or perhaps that's too cheap for your blood. How about a stack for 500,000 iron bits? Actually, I could actually afford a stack. So this is how you transfer money between accounts. I was trying before about clicking on these, but you can't just turn it into an item. You have to go talk to him. So you couldn't send money to your alts till now. Huh. Oh, okay, it's just you. Ooh, different tinge to this. Let this sacrifice echo across the Conclave. That a brother Jaros was found worthy of bearing his life before Sorrel's blade. Fewer are granted the honor, and fewer still have the will to accept the burden for the benefit of us all. And so it was with our brother, who not only willingly stepped forward to feed Sorrel's hunger, yet so held sigils painted on his bare chest as he paraded himself to the center of the Conclave. Larger than life, he stood proudly before Sagon and his curved witchblade, and proclaimed to all that today marks the first day of their victory against the usurper. Jaros kneeled, as was customary, but his eyes never turned away from the vicar's stoic gaze. As was set down upon us by Solal, Sagan uttered the sacred words and slid his forefinger to paint a rune upon Jaros' forehead. Then the vicar stood behind the sacrifice and placed the sacred blade upon his throat. This was the chosen's last chance to back down, though, to be perfectly honest, such a disgrace would likely end in death anyway. Jaros looked up ahead with confidence. His face was beaming with pride. Such was his fate. For Solal, he began to cry when Sagan slit his throat, and plunged his other hand, drenched in black flames, into Jaros' chest. Sagan removed the dead man's heart in a swift motion and drank deep of the lifeblood spilling forth. Jaros' body slumped to the ground, his eyes still staring forward. Several attendants saw to his cremation as the vicar delivered the heart to Solal's shrine. The heart was placed in an ornate bowl and incinerated, and as it burned, the runes upon the shrine grew brighter. Solal is pleased, Sagan uttered, smiling with bloody lips. Alicia. Hi there, you look lost. Something I can help you with? Who is the Emissary? Wow, now, that is a good question. The Emissary has been in service of Tree for a very long time. Some say since the beginning, which make him hundreds of years old. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but there is no doubt he's been one of their most fervent servants. He goes where the Tree will not, recruiting talented individuals in their name, or scouring them from existence should their refusal be perceived as a threat to the gods. I suspect many here were once recruited by him, including yours truly. You were recruited by the Emissary? Yes, I certainly was. It's not the happiest of tales, but all worked out in the end, I suppose. I was 14 at the time. My parents had fallen ill to a pox that claimed countless lives across the countryside. Things were not looking good. We're running out of money. The little bit of medicine I could afford was quickly running out. One day, when I was out in the market trying to scrounge some coin for the meager goods we had, I began hearing voices, but they did not originate from anyone nearby. Only I could hear them. They told me things I thought impossible. First I was rightfully scared, and didn't know what to make of it. I thought I was going mad, but in them was wisdom. I just didn't know it at the time. It wasn't long before my mother succumbed to the pox. At the burial, as my father was still too weak, and the tears streamed down my cheeks, I vowed not to let that happen again. Listened to the voices, and through them learned tricks beyond mortal limits. I hired some people, but was able to earn money for food and father's medicine. The day my father got out of bed for the first time in weeks, a stranger came to me on the road. A hood cooked his features, and introduced himself only as the Emissary. Told me that the voices I was hearing were not of my own failing sanity, but they were a gift. Told me that I was right to listen, but now the time had come to pay for my gifts. Father's life in exchange for my service. He said that I should keep listening to the voices, to follow them wherever they led, but I'll never see my father again. To deny them was to deny the call of a god. But that I had no choice. Wrote my father a note and left in the middle of the night. The Emissary was not wrong. The voices led me to Stonereach, a coven of witches in the service of the tree. A different one than we know. There I honed my powers and embraced my calling. I did not know what happened to my father, but given what's happened across Karn, I can only imagine. And I can only imagine I would have shared his fate if I didn't leave. What is this place? This is a gathering of those faithful to the tree. Convergence of powers this world has not yet seen. All of us were called here, much like you were. The tree? Are you really that out of your element? The tree, the witch gods, Bazmel, Drieg, and Solal. The very reason why we stand here to this day. We are, all of us, bound to their will. To serve them is to have purpose, and we've been called into the service as well. What are we doing here? Each of us has a role to play, but all of us are here because the tree demanded it. A forgotten threat rises to the north, one that may consume this land if we falter or delay. There are some in this camp who are skeptical of this, but they're fools to question the gods. The threat is real, as the threat is real, as we will all know it soon enough. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. She's been helpful. Please do not distract me from task. What are you doing here? I am an oath keeper of Solal. I'm the sword and the shield. I am righteous rat. It is my sworn duty to defend Brother Sagon, and I will do so with my life, and yours if need be. That's a mouthful. Watch yourself, stranger. Make no threats. Keep your distance and we shall have no quarrel. And if I don't, then I'll strike you down where you stand. But there's no time for such ignorance. I'm sure you know this. You are an ally of the tree, are you not? Now please leave me to my duty. Keep up the good work. Ricard. Oh god, there's so much talking here. Can't talk right now, Maris is watching. Merce? Who's Merce? She's the love of my life. That's who Merce is. Now please. Now please, would you leave before she sees us talking? I don't want to get the wrong idea. I don't want her to think I'm, talking to you. You know what I mean. I have no idea. Bit busy right now. Come back and see me when you finish with the Emissary. Alright.
Serve the three and prosper. Deny them.
Huh? I get the idea.
Stay out of my way, and we'll get along just fine.
Sure. I can take you.
So, you are what the Emissary has brought us. Are you prepared for the trials ahead? This should prove entertaining.
Perhaps you prefer to test me yourself.
That would be brief.
So arrogant. I'm certain you've... Wait. I'm certain you have heard the whispers as I had. The mad one is restless, his mind filled with visions of the burning one's return. If the bonds are broken and his power restored, he could unmake everything. I do not have to remind you of the consequences. The triumvirate's fate is bound in this moment. Send word along the spider's web. Rally the servants of Bezalel. I invoke the sacred covenant. The forces of the tree must converge in the forgotten lands of the Corvan people. Our forces must unite against its threat, or divided we shall succumb to the vengeful flames. None must be allowed to defy our summons. Any that do are as much enemy as the forces we contend with, and shall be dealt with in kind. We must not allow ourselves to be distracted by the machinations of the Ethereals, or the bloodletters succumbing to their own doom. The danger they pose pales in comparison to what awaits us if we fail, and if the web has done its part, then the Orlan survivors will and if the web has done its part, then the Orlan survivors will stymie their progress long enough for our matters to be settled. Ironically, this takes place after the other two acts. Well, the other two, like the base game and the other expansion. And not just because I decided to start it here. The elements of this do take place apparently after Malmouth. Seek out the twin statues, you know of which I speak. There, the veil there is tin, and will serve as an opportune location to begin our work. At the request of the Infinite Eye, I've dispatched the Emissary to track down valuable allies who will turn the tide in our favour. Consider their lives expendable in the pursuit of victory, but one must not tamper with the whims of fate when they are so clearly written before us. By the three thrones, we will eradicate this threat to our gifts. The world will tremble before the might of the witch gods. Saigon, Victor of Solel. I guess this is why the gods were distant.
What brings you to my fold?
Ignis, Witch Smith. Cult Supplier.
See what's left of my wares.
You're a neutral person. Alright.
Iron well spent.
Debt to the Usurper. Not much XP from these. Maybe it's because you're meant to come here, like, you've the possibility of coming here, like, right out of the gate, you know, after Act 1. Praises be upon the tree. Praises be upon their wisdom, their foresight, and their pity upon mankind. For without their blessings we will be as worthless husks, devoid of the gifts of the Eldritch realm, and at the mercy of the Luminari hounds. Curses be upon the Usurper, the burning vengeance, the Corvin destroyer. Curses be upon his lust for the Eldritch thrones, the pinnacle of the gods. May he die 1,000 deaths as Drieg suffers 1,000 festering wounds. May his insides fill with spiders, and his eyes turn to ash by Eldritch fire. All this we invoke upon the Usurper of the Eldritch powers, powers meant to be wielded by the true gods and their servants. We march upon the blistering sands, and into the heart of flame, the whispers of Drieg in our ears, and the hounds of Bezalel at our sides. The black flame of Solel upon our blades. None shall be spared before our wrath. By the gifts of our patrons, we will reclaim what is theirs, and through their blood, and though our blood shall spill upon the Corvin sands, we done in honor. It will be done in honor of the true masters of humanity. Ricket? You seem familiar. I swear I've seen that name before. I'm ready for whatever Solel's got in store for us. Atin deserves to be here, and I'll make sure of it. Atron. I'm sorry, are you the one we're supposed to see to for initiation? I don't believe so. Ah, sorry then. Let's talk another time. If you need something, speak with Atron.
Sorry, I can't talk. I'm waiting for someone.
Maybe later. There's a path down here, which has got me suspicious. Isn't that same design tower and even in rune from like over here, Arkovia? There's a fair bit here. It's much bigger than Malmouth, I think. So, still a bit more to left to this run. Which is good and bad. I'm kind of burning out on it, but I'm still rather interested. This place we've chosen for our vigil. This conclave, it is a cursed land. The veil screams in agony. The whispers from beyond threaten to unravel reality. Every night I've spent here, the visions of the other side came more frequently, and with greater clarity. What I first told were images of darkness, turned to be much more. Within it were the screams of a million souls crying out to me, crying out for mercy. As my dreams solidified, I realized that the darkness moved. It writhed like a mass of tentacles, endlessly searching for something. The sight of it filled me with terror beyond anything I've ever felt. I woke gasping for breath, and grasping for anything within reach to remind me that I've left to the dream, to the chagrin of my fellow seers sharing the tent. Shaken and unable to sleep, I sought the wisdom of the Oracle. To my surprise, or perhaps I should have expected this, my master was already waiting for me inside his tent. Lanterns illuminated him in their flickering light as he sat cross-legged, without his usual regalia, on a rug with tea set out for us. As he stared ahead with his blank eyes, gave me a tight-lipped smile and motioned for me to sit. Before I could utter a word, he said, "You go. I was taken aback and blinked. The oracle continued by describing exactly what I had seen in my dreams, as if he'd been there to share them with me. The insatiable night, he called it, the eternal darkness that exists in the beyond. It is primordial, unfathomable to the human mind. We see it as a mass of writhing tentacles, but what it truly is, it cannot be described in words. Yugo exists to consume everything. Its endless pursuit halted only by the light of celestial stars. I was told that it is a gift and a burden to bear witness to the makings of reality. What I had seen cannot be unseen. When I started visibly shaking, the oracle placed his palm upon my forehead. For a moment, I could swear his eye tattoos were staring at me, yet I found myself instantly calmed. When I asked what he had done, he would not say, but offered to teach me a technique to calm myself, banish the darkness from my nightmares. It's a lucid method by which I could conjure my own stars into the dream, brighter than the desert sun. I thanked him for his wisdom, and promised to return the next eve for my lesson. I stood to leave, and glanced in his direction. He was staring ahead, as before, a somber expression on his face. His tea remained untouched. I said no more, and closed the tent flap behind me. It would seem my visions have disturbed the oracle as well, but I trust that his judgment and foresight will carry us through whatever darkness looms on the horizon. I pray to Dreeg that the oracle's teachings will spare me further nightmares.
Hey there, traveler.
Here he is. Beefcake McGee. See? It's clearly the same guy. Hey there, traveler. Come back and chat with me when you're done with the emissary. We want him coming after me for meddling in his business. I will. Darien. Well, if it isn't the talk of the camp. Oh, you've heard of me. Of course. The seers of Dreeg have extolled your acts in Burwitch, and even those yet to be. Mate. Burwitch was long ago. The way it's set up is so that if you came here right after Act 1, you get this line. And it's still applicable. So, basically this is wrote with Act 1 in mind. But they didn't, and in a way it works even if you've already, finished up to Malmouth. Because, there's going to be more for a character to do in like Grimdone 2, presuming it's meant to be the same guy continuing on to that. I'm not sure how they're going to handle that transition between games. So it works no matter where you come, but I feel that, how the other guy acknowledged I found the temple to tree. I feel they should have, said your accent Burwitch and somewhere else. To acknowledge or change Burwitch to Malmouth. They should have used your latest one kind of thing, Latest, bigger act, I guess. Whatever. I'm not beating up Cronley, but maybe maybe not beating up the ethereal monstrosity in the barn, but killing the leader of the cult in the keep, and the wall, the gatehouse thing. Counting him or the Logorian. So yeah, basically this is wrote with Act 1 in mind, but doesn't really, unlike with the commenting on us getting the gift from the tree, doesn't adapt to us having further content, regrettably. That is, before they all started rambling about death and the inevitable darkness that will consume all. Ura in particular seems to have taken interest in your arrival, but you can take that up with her. If you don't mind, I have a bit more of a personal question to ask. Go ahead. It's about a child, a little girl. Perhaps in your travels you may have met her and those who now care for her. What is her name? I'm afraid I don't know what her name is. You don't know? You see, I was traveling along the shore north of Port Valbury. Is this Alice? With a small group from the Coven at Stonereach. We sought to regroup with our brothers and sisters fleeing the carnage in the city. We searched for 2 days without luck, but on the third morning we spotted a small boat just offshore. It appeared to be empty, but I could swear I heard the cries of an infant coming from it. I braved the waters and fixed a line to it, and together we pulled it to shore. And what did you find? The sight we beheld burned my very soul. At first glance, it appeared there was nothing but death. Human remains twisted and mangled, laying with other creatures, the likes of which I've never seen. But in the midst of it all was a baby, just as pristine as if her mom had laid her down for an afternoon nap. She couldn't have been more than a couple of years old. How that child survived whatever happened in that boat is beyond me, but when I picked her up, she looked at me with a bright smile and her beautiful green eyes. Some of the others were spooked. They kept going on about how it was impossible such a small child could survive the carnage. There was something unnatural about her. But I knew we had to take care of her. The Code of Drieg, there are no coincidences. We were intended to find this girl. So I brought her back to the Covenant Stone Reach. The matron agreed to raise her, but couldn't bear to leave her side. That is, until I was summoned here. One does not deny the call of Dralius. Couldn't very well bring an infant here with me to this forsaken land. It broke my heart to leave her. I just thought, you may have been there. You may have news of her. That might be Alice, but an Aldrich's daughter. You say her name is Alice. How would you know this? She was taken from her mother in Port Valbury. Oh, that must be her, Alice. Little Alice. What of her mother? Did she survive Valbury? She seeks her child. She went to Malmut. Malmut is no better place than Valbury these days. She's walking into a death trap. Drieg, forgive me. Perhaps I can still do something. But we're so far from Erlon. There's no hope of that, I'm afraid. I wish we actually had a line to acknowledge that we've done Malmut and we found her dead. I wish there was that with a bit of an acknowledgement. That is actually one thing I dislike. I've commented on this before, and sadly this game did fall into it. Like, we found plenty of notes asserting that the outcast was an ethereal, but it was only until she confessed to being an ethereal that we realised it. And similarly, we found we'll leave the other point. You know, we found enough hints. You know, the other guy saying fire behind the eyes, and you know, there's enough hints outside it to prove that she was an ethereal. You know, but it wasn't until the other one pointed out that we could broach it. I suppose you want to actually be certain about it before just tossing out accusations. But anyway, we found enough like notes from ethereal saying, "Oh, betrayer, betrayer, she was an ethereal," but we don't do anything till she confesses. Certainly, it could be, you know, ethereals trying to fuck with us, leaving notes intended for us to find. But we don't even have the option of bringing it up, you know? So, it's again, a lot of games, like, it could be because it's voice acted. Well, I've seen arguments before that games in the past used to have a lot more dialogue to them. But then when voice acting was brought in, due to the extra cost of it, they trimmed back on the amount of dialogue. But this game has voice acting, but a lot of it isn't voice acted. Like, that conversation there. And that's fine. And as such, we got a fair bit of dialogue out of the guy. But I don't know why, you know, to skimp on, you know, little details like that, you know? Maybe it was just a development oversight or what have you. Or, you know, it's just some things got cut. But... oh, actually, moving beyond him, I keep forgetting what I'm saying as I'm saying it. That's why I prefer writing, because I can look over what I'm saying. But, basically, I don't know why you would, like, if you have notes in the game that, like, say, like, oh, the mother's dead in Malmut, you know, why not give that as an option here? You're already acknowledging that the kid's Alice is Alice, von Aldrich's daughter. But you don't acknowledge that the mother's dead. I suppose one of the dialogue lines there kind of implies it. But I'm not sure, you know. Basically, it's different to the realization of Alice, you know? That she's Van Aldrich's daughter. You know, there's no further conversation of that or anything. It's just an end of conversation thing. So it makes me wonder if that's just a generic response you have. It mightn't be. It might be fine, but... you know, it just... the fact that your character just like... you know, like, oh, she's gone to search for her Malmut. Just makes me feel like that other comment's just a generic end of sentence thing, rather than acknowledging that the mum's dead. Because I'd feel that this sentence of, oh, she went to Malmut, just find her, she's dead now though, would have been a better thing. I don't know. basically, I'm kind of all scattered. My head has been scattered today anyway. It has been for the last few days. I'm not really making my point well. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is simply, I feel that it will be better for the game if, in games, not just this game, but you know, if you put notes into the game, to actually have characters be able to comment on them, acknowledge them, so that, you know, like, we found the mother's body with the note to Alice. We should be able to say that, oh yeah, I found this note. It seems the mom. I found the mom. She's dead in Malmut. You know, I found these notes. They say you're an ethereal. That's, you know, broach that topic. Too many games, like, your character will discover a plot twist, and then we utterly surprised when the plot twist happens, even though they've already read 20 notes saying it. You know? It's a thing that I really hate in games, because it's takes you out of it. You find a note and you find more information, but your character doesn't know it. You know it, but they don't. It bugs the shit out of me. So yeah, that's basically what I'm getting at. I wish since we found the mom dead in Malmut, I wish the game acknowledged that here. I feel that leaving line was just a generic end of conversation thing, rather than an acknowledgement of it. It might be an acknowledgement of her being dead, but it just, given the preceding option we had, you know, I'm not sure. Ultimately, even if it was an acknowledgement, this game and other games still do have that issue of, you know, giving lines, you know, giving you notes and not acknowledging them, you know? And in games where they aren't paying voice actors for every single line, it's less justifiable, you know? So yeah, I just wish they, yeah, basically, I just wish games were better about that. Not just this game, but other games. And this game, you know, the line there at the end. No help with that, I'm afraid. You know, this might have been an acknowledgement of it, but damn it, I keep losing my train of thought. Basically, all I'm trying to get at is, I wish games acknowledge notes more. That might be an acknowledgement of it, I'm not entirely sure. Part of me feels that if it was an acknowledgement of it, it would continue the conversation, even just for an extra bubble of him being like, oh no, or, you know, whatever, you know, rather than nothing. But, you know, regardless of what it is, I wish games were, just in general, were better about acknowledging notes. They give you lore, but your character doesn't actually learn it. I suppose it is so much more work for them to take into account, okay, the character knows this, but not that, and knows this, and that, and it is a lot more work for them. So I guess on that front, I can see why they don't do it. It does, you know, people talk about immersion and whatnot. I find that does break my immersion. Like, I know all this shit. My character's just like, oh, I couldn't have seen that coming. And, you know, a whole library's worth of, you know, foreshadowing just fell out of their backpack. You know, their pants just fell down with the amount of foreshadowing that they've scrolls they just stuffed in it. And the pants were like riveted on. So yeah, it's like, I can see why they don't do it now that I've realised the extra development work, but it is frustrating. So I wish there was some way they could do it, but without it being too much of a hamstringing kind of thing. You know, it wouldn't mess with development too much and be too much of a pain. So, you know, having your cake and eating it, I guess. But I suppose, what is the point in having a cake without eating it? But yeah, basically, you know, that line there might have been an acknowledgement of it, but I can't be sure. And even if it is, in general, games are kind of terrible with that, and I really wish they'll get better. So yeah, sorry about that rant. It's just, I kept like losing my train of thought and what I was getting at, and then I would feel like I'm forgetting something else, and I kept just going around in circles because mentally I was completely lost. That's why I prefer writing. My memory has gone kind of rather poorly as of late. especially more as it's getting worse as time goes on. Feels like it's descending rapidly. That's why for writing, because I can look over what I was saying, and typically that jogs my memory. Typically, though, I'm still sore. One of my I wrote notes down on a page, and it ended up being put to one side. It's gone now, and I can't remember what was on it. I can just remember it's gone. But it was for this story I was working on. I might even know what was on the note. I just can't remember what it was. Whatever. That's why I write mostly on WordPress for my computer now. It was just I didn't have access to it in my time. I just wrote it quickly down on the back of a receipt. But that was a tangent anyway. I'm getting kind of giddy right now. Feeling a bit, not hyper, but that kind of thing. I wasn't sure was that someone crumpled up or supplies. But anyway,
I'll give you a good price on what I've got left.
tree to oak skin. Plus 1 to all necromancer skills. Tree storm surge. That's a legendary shield. The blade rumored to have been wielded by Dreeg in his mortal lifetime. 1 to all shaman skills. Tree to devouring swarm. Really likes devouring swarm. 2 to Revenant's Earth, and plenty of bonuses to Revenant's Earth. One-handed axe, so no. And it's actually level 94. I would never use that. Branded a White Lotus. Caretakers of the celestial flower that blooms within the Corvin lands. Sadly not for me. Skill-wise, it's pretty nice with the healing, but yeah. But 2 attacks per second. Oh, nice. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. But yeah, initially it felt like it wasn't an acknowledgement of what of us finding Mom dead in Malmut, because it was just like an end of conversation thing, and there wasn't like the revelation of, oh, that's Alice, that's Alice, and and how that continued the conversation. It just ended right there. There was no acknowledgement of it or anything. So it just felt like it was yet another case of games just not acknowledging things. But I could have just been jumping the gun there. Sometimes that happens, But yeah, even if I was jumping the gun there, this game, among others, has, they sometimes do just not, I give you notes, but not have your character acknowledge them. And I wish games were better at that. I do recognize now why they don't. The extra development work of acknowledging this note, but not, say if there's a few notes on a topic, your character might know this note, but not another note, and, they don't have a complete picture. And while having that level of interactivity and whatnot to it would increase immersion and all that, it would be so much extra developmental work. And, on the programmer side, I'm not sure how much for them, but it would also be extra work for the writing team. On top of everything else they have to do for a ton of notes in the game. That wouldn't be every note, I doubt. I'm sure there'll be some notes that are just periphery and wouldn't necessarily need to be referenced. But, it will be more work on... It would still be more work. I can see why they don't do it, but I really wish they did do it more. But yeah, anyway, sorry for going on about that. And I know I've said this before, but it's just... I'm still kind of stuck in a knot. It's just, again, like I was saying, I just feel like I'm... forgetting what I was... I started forgetting what I was saying, mid-saying it. And I just kind of ended up going around in circles. Even now, mentally, I'm just kind of stuck in a knot. I just feel... like I'm forgetting something, or I didn't word it right, or what have you, So,
Put it to good use.
but yeah, I think I got my point across well enough. Even if this isn't an example of it, I just feel it would have played out differently if it was, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I just feel it would have played out differently if it was, but regardless, the point is just simply I wish games were better about that. I see why they aren't, but I really wish they were, because it does mess with my immersion. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, if you've anything you'd like to say, if you know any games that are actually pretty good about that, please let me know in the comments. I'm still stuck in the fucking knot.